Thank you, sir. With that, we come to the signature event of the day, the award presentation part of today's function. The Loyola Global Leadership Award is an initiative started with the aim of recognizing and rewarding Loyolites who have created a huge impact in the lives of others. This year's recipient, Sri Santosh Shivan, is one of Indian cinema's finest cinematographers and directors.
He was awarded the Padma Shri by the President of India in the year 2014. A member of the 1976 batch of Loyola, his body of work and honors received make us proud to have him as part of the LOBA family. Let us now take a look at Mr. Santosh Shivan's life in this short video compiled by us.
When hearing the name Santosh Shivan, it's unlikely that two people in the room will immediately conjure the same feeling. Some might think immediately of love that heals Roger's bleeding borders, or Iruvar's epic theatricality. For others, it's grandeur, the swagger of Shah Rukh Khan on top of a train in Chaya Chaya, or the climatic drop of the chisel in Perundachin. Or maybe it's not a moment at all, but an ongoing moment. Looking back over the peaks and valleys of Santosh's Uber, one sees an artist fueled by an insatiable curiosity. For this 11-time national award winner has reflected a transformation that's no less magical than his compositions.
I actually did a film on Kerala tourism, I did the Kerala tourism film, and that time I wanted to be a tribute to my father. So I wanted my dad to see that, oh my God, I've not seen like this. So I decided that I'll shoot everything that is very fleeting. That means, supposing there's a heavy shower and then briefly the sunlight comes in. It is not going to be there for a long time, but it is beautiful if you capture it. Or suddenly the first snowfall comes, or suddenly the night is turning to day, or things like that. If it is fleeting, it's very beautiful. It's almost like flirting with a girl, actually. It's like that.
Santosh Shivan has offered no shortage of extraordinary standalone scenes and images. But often, it's the underlying soul of his films that is so unusually striking. Alongside incredible artists like Mani Ratnam, A.R. Rahman and Srikar Prasad, his cinematic journeys are crazy quills of the human condition in all its wonderful and heartbreaking shades. He still excites us because he still seems to be excited by telling stories and by the possibilities of the medium. Who else would take the profoundly disturbing plunge into the life of a pregnant suicide bomber that was the terrorist, and then go on to make something like Before the Rains, a tragic love story set against the growing Indian nationalist movement of the 1930s. We see no contradiction or hypocrisy in between these two films, but instead a bridge, connecting two disparate artistic manifestations of Santosh's Zen-like gaze of humanity or the lack of it.
How I used to do is very interesting. I would sit in my room with my still camera. Even now I do it actually. And the room is the same. But every day I have to take 5 shots which are not like anything I've seen before.
A nimble painter of solitary outsiders as well as wide-ranging social landscapes, Santosh Shivan is the first cinematographer in the Asia-Pacific region to be honored with the American Society of Cinematographers membership. The sheer force of filmmaking wins out and his camera keeps rolling. Loyola Global Leadership Awards is about homeboys changing the world. Because Santosh Shivan reconfigured the world by giving us another way of looking at it. Santosh Shivan, ASC, ISC, Padma Shri winner, Loyolite.
May I invite our chief guest, Mr. T.P. Srinivasan, to come on to the stage. I kindly request Sri Santosh Shivan to come up onto the stage to receive the award. I also would like to ask the LOBA president to come along. First, we'll present the citation. This is in recognition of the achievements attained in the quest of excellence by setting an immeasurable vista in the field of cinematography, touching human life with unparalleled passion. This congregation of alumni is privileged to bestow an honor of highest merit to Sri Santosh Shivan for henceforth leading generation of Loyolites as a ventured icon in the years to come.
Now I request the chief guest to present the award, the Loyola Global Leadership Award, to Mr. Santosh Shivan.
This is a happy moment for us, Santosh Shivan Cheta. So we have been interacting with you from morning. So a few words from you.
Actually, I had a Q&A session in the morning with all the students in the school, actually. It was fantastic to go back to my own school, and I miss seeing my favorite teacher there. But today he's here. Kuriakos sir is here. And so is my dad and my sister and all my dear classmates from school and schoolmates. So it makes me very happy to be the first and in the presence of such people to be receiving this award. Thank you.
We've heard the Padma Awards. It's like 0.02% the population get these awards. So how did it feel to be up there with the president giving you the award in the Rashtrapati Bhavan? How did it feel?
Actually, I've been very fortunate actually to be receiving this award because we started this, my institution which I studied in, which is the Film Institute in Pune. They have the opportunity to recommend a name also every year. So it so happened that my name was there, and then along with all the other, film bodies, they all had something because, of course, I was honored with the American Society of Cinematographers. So that made it easier for me, and when I received it, it was very, very endearing. In fact, what was interesting was that I received it along with Dr. Subhadra Nair, who hugged me, and she told me that she was there when I was born. So it made it very memorable, actually. And so I remember my Padma Award like that, actually, more than anything else.
I remember an incident that day when one of our former directors, Sri M.C. Dattan, Chandra Dattan, he received the Padma Shri on the same day as you did. And both his sons studied in Loyola, Vishnu Dattan and Manu Dattan. And I remember Dattan sir was telling me that once he knew that you were a Loyolite, he at once phoned his son who was in the US, and he talked, and he made him talk to you. So that's a kind of, the pleasure we get from interacting with Loyolites and other families. I go to any of my friends' houses, and they all know us, every one of us. So it's a family. And between your films, Perundachan, Mohini Atam, numerous. Which one do you treat as your best till date?
When you do movies, you really can't say which is your best because most of the time they're all like your children. But one film that I really felt good about making was a documentary. I made several documentaries too on AIDS for the Bill Gates Foundation and on so many things. But one film I did recently was a film to do with the farmers of Kuttanad. Because when I used to accompany my dad, I used to be in Kuttanad, and I was very fascinated with this whole idea of meeting this farmer who told me that 1 plus 1 is not 2 in our maths, you know. It has to be 3 or 4. Then only there's something interesting that happens, because if you throw a handful of rice or plant a mango tree, it has to multiply. That is when our maths become right. I think our maths also is like that. In a creative field, we also tend to make, not just record it, but multiply and see yourself in the landscape, you know. So you want to say, do something interesting to add to it. So after that, I thought, like today, one small kid asked me in school, what would you be if you are not a cinematographer or a filmmaker? So without hesitation, I said I would be a farmer, you know. I love the idea of farming. I think that's the most creative thing that you can do. So as soon as that thing got over, I bought 2 acres of land in Pondicherry. And so now I'm having a kind of a trust where I'm planting a forest. And I wanted to have my, people with their star signs and that tree to be a tree. So today I was asking Kuriakov sir also what his star sign was, so that it could be finally something that will be a trust and that will also be not something that we washed away like that. Yeah. What you said about change, I really like that, you know. Yeah.
So any message to your brothers, to all LOBA members, the families of teachers, they're all here?
I'm very, I actually, when I'm here, I remember one little incident that happened in my life. After doing the Film Institute and, of course, not having to, didn't want to assist anyone or be a mentor to anyone, because I only wanted my dad to be my mentor. And so I actually was traveling around, and at one point in time, I reached this place called Arunachal Pradesh, right under the Himalayas, where I went to a school where they had made Mahatma Gandhi like them. So he also was a little short and had calf muscles, and he had a stick raised. So I asked them, why is the stick raised? So they said, he won freedom for India, so its stick has to be raised. So I said, it's not like that. It is, he was so that kind of people who were in the class with swords and things like that. Then while we were interacting, their dog died, so they wanted to bury the dog. So they took me deep into the forest, and it was a little scary, of course, but then they started to dig a very deep hole in the ground, and they wanted the dog to be the tree later on. So that is why it was so deep. So it was getting a little late, so I told them that, my dear friends, we better get back. It's getting dark, and it's really, the forest is not very familiar. I'm not very familiar with the forest. So they said, okay, we'll head back. And as we headed back, suddenly they stopped me, and they started whispering around each other, and they suddenly saw this, pointed and said, there are 2 tiger prints. So it was a little scary. Of course, I was a little scared. So I was thinking the tiger is standing behind some trees and wondering, okay, good South Indian lunch is coming up or something like that. So I asked these boys, what will you do if you see a tiger? Just so that I will be prepared. So they said, we run very, very fast and climb tall tree very fast. So I looked at it in shock, because I can in no way run very fast like that, nor climb the tall tree fast. So I asked them then, but what will I do? Then he looked at me and said, no problem, sir. You see tiger, you learn very fast, everything. So I presume everything that whenever changes happen, like you mentioned about change, I trust myself to actually come out of it. And it's the same thing he was also saying. The father, Edesheri, was saying. So I think it is something that is inbuilt in you, which you have to just trust, and so it becomes very easy. Just now spent 4 months working in an English film in UK, and you being the only Indian there, you know, and in that cold weather. But fortunately, we also had little reunions with Loyolites there, because we have a lot of Yorkshire doctors from Loyola, classmates of mine from first standard. So we made it like a family get-together, almost actually. Thank you very much for this wonderful evening and this lovely presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.